Hey, so I just want to take a minute to talk about how we organize speeches. So there's lots of different ways to organize a speech. There is Monroe's motivated sequence, which we'll talk about later on. There's problem solution, things like that. But what they all have in common are three basic elements. So let me just switch over here. And those three elements then are they all have an introduction, they all have a body and a conclusion. So in this first speech, because it's short, it's a story. You're telling a story about your life. We're not going to have all the stuff in here. So this is going to be a little simpler. Later on, we'll add more stuff into it. But today, for your introduction, you need two things. You need an attention getter. You need a thesis. Your thesis is, what's your story about? What is this speech about? Don't make us guess. You can be a little mysterious if you want, rather than saying, this is a story about a time I broke my arm. You can say, this is a story about a time I learned an important lesson. That way you're still giving your audience some idea of what the point is. Now, attention getters. Below this, I'm going to embed a video on different types of attention getters. It's important, though, we break this habit. We often have a habit of saying, my name's Brian, and this is my self-intro speech. We would need to stop that because everybody knows what speech you're there for. And someone, either in this class or in real life, you're going to have someone introduce you or at least call your name. So we're all going to know who you are. The very first words that should come out of your mouth should be your attention getter. So make sure you watch that video. Okay, so then we have the body. Now, in the body of your speech, again, later on we'll add more to it. But for this speech, you're going to have one main point, that is your story. So your attention getter sets it up, your thesis tells us what's it about, then the body tells us the story. Then at the end, we're going to restate the main point, or in this case, restate the thesis. Why? Because we want to make sure that the audience remembers it. If you don't remind the audience, it makes it harder for them to remember your main point. And then we're going to have the closer, the clincher. And there are lots of ways to do it, but a very easy way is to sort of turn it over. Now that you've heard the story of the time I broke my arm, make sure that you don't make the same mistake I did. Something like that. So I'm turning it over to the audience. I'm done talking, now you do something. You take this information and do something with it. That's a good way to end the speech because it makes it clear that you're done talking. Stop paying attention to me, now you do something with this knowledge. Okay, so there is just really quickly the three main points: introduction, body, and conclusion. Now that you know how to do it, go do it yourself. See what I did there, how I did the ending? Okay.